Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sutton Sewer Commissioners' monthly meeting, September 6, 2018. Approximately right at 2 p.m. And with all members attending, bring the meeting to order. Starting off with the minutes of our last meeting, which was held on July 11th, 2018. I believe everybody had a copy to review that.
Make a motion to accept the June 13th, 2018 minutes.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Pass.
Should we make just a little statement saying that
For our listeners, our meeting last month in August was considered the town meeting, which we do each time there's a town meeting. We defer our meeting for that one. That's why there was none held back in August. We're all set with that. So the agenda is... Is that me?
No, you hit the wrong button.
We all set? Okay. On the, I guess, public forum at this point, is there anybody that wishes to be here today, or? Just visitors? We like visitors. If you need to talk, just give us a yell, heads up. Okay. Next on the agenda would be, I have the depot generator. Last time it was sitting in the yard. How are we doing now?
Well, we've got the generator at the plant, and now we're waiting for, we have to schedule the crane and schedule the plumbing for the gas hookup of the
Okay,
natural gas.
so same status, basically?
Well, no, we're 50% there.
50%, okay. We're moving forward, all
Yes.
right? It's good. Next on the agenda is warrant articles.
Yeah.
And what do we have, Donald, for that?
Well, in last month's warrant, if you read the articles there, we
Yeah.
discussed the Beta Engineering in regards to the I&I. And that bill will have to go as unpaid bills in the fall town meeting. The appropriation made through Beta was, the engineering that we hired was on the assumption that it wasn't needed to us to monitor our flow up in the Wilkinsville area. However, when they submitted all the numbers that they've got from the Wilkinsville and the Manchog area, the state deemed to say, yes, you will monitor them for a period of 3 months. And that's where the additional cost came in. So,
Well, we did review that invoice, and so is the article for us to sign now, or?
well, it's a warrant article, both of them.
Okay.
We got 2 warrant articles that we're gonna be sponsored. One of them is
Okay.
the unpaid bill to Beta Engineering.
Okay,
And, I mean, that's the only outstanding bill we got, is the cost of the monitoring the wells for the 3-month period. And, those numbers have to be into DEP by the end of September. I believe it was, May, June, and July, I believe, that they, monitored the wells with the flows. And now they're grabbing all the data, and, Beta will be, completing their information to DEP.
okay. So what do we have to do at this point? Because we already,
We're gonna
just wait for the article to be done?
wait for the warrant to be written and presented to us and
Presented,
signed.
yeah.
That's-
Okay,
I
it
have
was
a
on the
question.
agenda, that's why,
I really,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, it's, a vote's gonna be made from the commissioner if we're sponsoring these articles. It's coming out of the enterprise account,
Right.
which is governed by the sewer commission.
Okay.
So that's why the two,
We're gonna vote on it to sponsor these articles.
that's correct,
One which is the unpaid with Beta Engineering.
correct.
And
What's the second one?
Well, the second one is for the,
Engineering thing?
yeah, engineering design, right. And I hope we have a little discussion on that, Mr. Chairman, before we,
okay.
go on that.
You wanna defer that down a little later, or go ahead and discuss it now?
We can discuss it now.
Well, let's do that. We have it right on the agenda.
Speaking with the town administrator on these, on the bills, we contacted, town council, and town council advised us that, we do not have to go out to, a bidding process on this. What we can do, we can get our quotes, which I did, I forwarded over, what, 3 quotes there, maybe, or 4
Mhm.
quotes. 4 quotes that we've got in regards to, design. Because the numbers are very, very outstanding. I mean, we're going from 70,000 to 350,000 for design. I mean, if you look at that thing, it's way out of whack.
It is.
Our goal and objective here is to get certified plans, to go out to bids, to get a cost of the construction cost, to bring the sewers up to Sutton of Sutton. That's the objective of the sewer design. Yeah, I understand. From where we are right now. The four bids that we've got there, I questioned Graz Engineering, which was the low bidder, and I asked him, I said, well, you know, this is our objective, and if you look on your cover letter, he did send a cover letter indicating in response to your question regarding certified plans for your proposal of his bid. And it says right there, Graz Engineering shall provide plans that are prepared and stamped by a Massachusetts registered civil engineer. And he also went on to say the same thing with his electrical plans, be stamped and certified by a registered electrical engineer. I mean, that's what we need to go out to bid.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? I mean, that's, and so, I mean, I was pleased with that. I mean, we can have a discussion. I would only suggest to the commissioners that, their proposal, that we probably beef that up a little bit for some unforeseen meetings or unforeseen things that transpires. He's gonna need 3 to 4 months to do the study. You know what I mean? And I know what I'm concerned about, the one area for the proposed, pump station, I mean, there is some wetlands there, so that might constitute a little more, working with, the conservation and so forth there, so I would.
Adding to the cost?
Adding to the cost.
Adding to the
Right.
cost.
I mean, that's not Graz engineering cost, it may be our cost too, whether it be conservation or whether it be,
Alright,
you know what I mean? So, that's what, you know,
Because you're saying that, along with proposed sewer route shall be delineated by a certified wetland scientist.
well, we don't know that, I mean, that will come from the conservation, if
Right,
need be,
okay.
right, and that's what I'm concerned about.
Well, wouldn't that be put in your bid, that there's, what you're looking for would include all these items that they took exception to? Like, you don't need boring, you know, that's your cost. I mean, when you go out and get a certified plan, these things should be listed as what you really want done. Why should we pay for these things when you, in fact, I'd like to see what the letter was that you asked for all these bids. What was the scope of the,
What we asked for is that we drew the line in the sand, we made a box. This is where we want the sewers, gravity going down to Pleasant Valley Villas. I mean, when you go out to bids, you don't say, okay, wait, you know, we think this is wetlands, we don't think it's wetlands. That's not for us to determine that. And that's where I don't understand what
well, some of these guys are bringing it up inside of their bids that you're gonna be crossing a culvert, and you gotta do something extra there, and then you would, if you want, you would be doing test borings every 300 feet that we talked about, and if you're gonna put together a proposal to, you know, for a public bid, I would think you would cover those items that have to be taken care of.
Well, I don't disagree with the commissioners. I mean, I'll support whatever decisions you wanna do, but I think you're kinda putting the cart before the horse. I wouldn't turn around and start doing test borings and then worrying about wetlands and things like that when you don't even have funding approved. I mean, we're talking about doing some test borings.
this is supposed, one of these things is supposed to give you the cost possibility
The
of
whole-
what you want to have it done.
That's the purpose of going.
And then
out
when you
for
go
bids.
out for bid, they bid against it, and either you get bids above what you think you're gonna spend, or below what you're gonna spend.
Are you talking about in regards to engineering, or are you talking about
No,
construction?
when you go for construction, when you accept the plan that this person puts together for you, and he leaves out borings, and he leaves out some things, those are extras that you have to pay when you start the project.
That's absolutely right, but then the bottom thing is to get the cost estimate of the construction. That's what I've always done with all the constructions that I've
Yeah.
been involved with. And then, when you get that, there's always provisions made in every contract, there's provisions if you hit rock. And that's all unforeseen. You don't,
I think a bit different with you, I've seen, well, I should say, I was in the drilling and blasting business for 25 years, and I've seen every public bid for, for towns or firms or developers that has included within the scope that there's so many cubic yards of dirt and cubic yards of rock that's gotta be hit. So I'm still thinking, who's gonna include that choice if they don't do it?
There's so much more than this.
Yeah, I
And
know
the
that, yeah.
breakdown. This,
yeah,
I
in,
don't know.
Mr. Chairman, in
Yes.
response to Carl's questions about the,
It's up to you.
about that, there is, I mean, that was, I says, if you want to turn around and we should beef that, the bid up. I mean, when you talk about directional drilling, you're talking about maybe between $5,000 to $8,000 is the cost to do your test borings if need be. That's what we got, the cost I got from here going down to the school. That's the estimated cost I got. And that was my saying, if that's what the commissioners wanna do, then so be it. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't really think that's, I mean, I didn't think that these bids were getting into so much dialogue and so much debate in regards to, I mean, what our objective is. My objective is to get certified plans so that they can come out, go out to bid, and we can find out at that time there, what the cost is gonna be. So, I mean, again, if you wanna jack up the cost to understand more on that and start doing other things, then that's totally up to you, gentlemen.
Well, let me ask you this, Donald, in your review of this other bid from On-Site Engineering, and the detail that they described for their bid amount, including the permitting process, the plan distribution and bidding assistance, do you feel that same detailed information is included on this one you just mentioned, Crass Engineering? I mean, there's a substantial difference in the bid.
There's not a big difference in the bid, it's
No.
not
Yeah.
75,000 to
97.
97?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a big difference between 97 and 285.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to avoid the other one
Yeah.
altogether.
I mean, what we've got here, we can make the appropriation, whatever the commissioners feel comfortable with, and we can call these representatives to come in. I mean, if you want a representative coming from the two low bidders and speak to the commissioners, I mean, that's.
Well, if we sponsor
just-
an
Just
article
don't put your mind at ease.
For a
I don't
dollar
know.
amount and it's not used, it's not really becomes a factor if we get a bid, awarding the bid afterwards, right?
Right, I mean, we're not awarding a bid till the fall town meeting.
So
to
we're
get the
just
money.
suggesting to sponsor an article for bids, for engineering plans.
Plans, yeah.
For plans,
Right.
and not necessarily awarding a contract.
No,
so,
you're not. Well,
yeah,
you're awarding a
We're giving an idea of which range we wanna be at.
Yeah, I mean,
Can
that-
we
that was
come up
my
with a happy
suggestion.
medium here in this area? I mean, what do you think about that, Carl? You know, you get this one that's set 97.7 from On-Site, which seems to me a lot more detailed information given to you.
Yeah, I was looking at
then
that
the other one-
closely, but there's a lot of things that he says, it doesn't contain this, it doesn't contain, it can't figure out everything that should be figured out, to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm just looking at the length of the job and what's involved, I don't know, but
Yeah.
is he gonna tell us it's 4-inch pipes, or is it gonna be 6-inch pipes? You guys know more about that than me, but that's gonna be a factor. And, placement of the station, I don't know whether you still want it up at the old school, I mean, up at the lot next to the gas station? One, a pipe, a discharge pipe coming out of that 65 acres down Cole Avenue, and then you got coming across Singletary to Boston Road and down Boston Road. And some talk has been made that do you really want it at that point, or do you want it at a low point?
Well, we came to that, wasn't that discussed the last meeting? And we've come to that conclusion where it was gonna be on the one location, correct?
On the Boston Road.
On Boston
side,
Road
right,
location.
that's correct, yeah.
Right. You have to help me a little bit, because I'm trying to remember all the details on
Yeah.
it, but,
And then there's-
again, just give an analogy, not to interrupt you, Hal, but an analogy of the two different bids. I mean, I see on this one that they're even quoting
Yeah, I looked at that.
$135 an hour for additional meetings and billed on time and material basis. I don't see any, unless I missed it, on the other one, that there's any relevance to that.
The other one.
Will it
just
hit
has-
us in the face afterwards?
No, it just has a certain amount of meetings and that's it. It's just budgeted for 3 meetings.
Budgeting means, okay. A little more generic. Well, I could look for a
Well, the
little.
only thing I liked about that particular bid is not, you know, the price of it, but he does explain what he does in each phase and what you'll get for it.
It seems presented to me in a.
More detailed.
Yes, and everybody would, I think, would like to have the lowest bid possible, but again, if we can get the same thing for the lower bid, then that's what we should be doing. I'm not sure that this is written
The guy from New
to
Hampshire.
that, where are they from? Yeah, New Hampshire.
Have you
Yeah,
dealt
but
with any
that's-
of these companies, Don?
Like Graz Engineering, I did. Graz Engineering, I did the Pleasant Valley Villas. All the design for the Pleasant Valley Villas, coming up from 122 up to, Boston Road.
Yeah, he has that in here,
Yeah.
so.
Was there any issues with any of those plans?
No, I did. I enjoyed working on it. It was great. Graz Engineering, no issues whatsoever.
The other people, you don't know at all.
I don't know anyone. Well, we know Beta, you know, Stantec, well, that's another one in there, and, On-Site. I mean, On-Site, I heard good things about. I didn't buy another dealt with them, so I have to be, give an opinion on that. But, I mean, I
So
would
can you-
suggest, I mean, just to put your mind at ease, you wanna have these representatives schedule a meeting for the end of September or something, we got plenty of time to, you know, to have them, answer your questions that you got, then we can take it from there. It's totally up to you.
What do you think about this, Larry?
Would they come down? I just feel funny having them all sitting here.
Well, no, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You know,
We were scheduled times, that's what we
You
were
know,
doing.
if we scheduled, gave everybody a half hour or something to stay in
Absolutely right.
case and
Yep.
out of here and then the next one in, you know,
Absolutely right.
I just feel funny having them all in here.
I mean, I don't know, you want represented from all 4 bids or just the 2 low bids?
I think just the 2. The other ones is,
Yeah.
I mean, if it was within $20,000 or $30,000, it'd be one thing, but to me, it's so far out of line, unless we're missing something, but I don't know. It's basically written the same as what this one is,
Right,
except
yeah.
it's quite a bit higher.
Yeah. We can coordinate that. I mean, we can probably do it early, you know, like, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock or something.
Yeah.
You know, we can meet you half hour piece and.
Yeah,
The only thing I get nervous about where it says meetings and it says meet with Board of Sewer Commissioners to review progress and meet with Conservation Commission.
During the process.
It's meetings. How many meetings are they gonna start charging us for if they do, or, you know?
Well, I mean, what concerns me about the on-site is the last one, number 13, kinda really concerns me on the on-site one. When you start, going meetings there.
Yeah, 'cause that can get pretty expensive in a
Yes,
hurry.
again, yeah, they're talking about $135 an hour. You know what I mean, so, I mean, if we start having issues that where we
Yeah, I
need
mean,
them on
yeah,
site
you-
and that,
So if you take that one section alone and look at it, is the on-site wouldn't bring up a section of meetings all by itself?
that's what we're discussing, number 13 on site.
I thought we were talking about crass,
No, they just have meetings, there's
Just
no
meetings.
specific
Yeah,
amount or anything.
Before, yeah, after.
yeah, well, in my interpreting that, section D of that, meetings meet with the Board of Sewer Commissioners to review progress and final plans, meet with the Sutton Sewer Commissioners, Conservation Commissioners, sorry. If it's one meeting or two meetings, he's not saying that, so it's an open door and they
Right.
can't really charge us.
Right, but
You know,
on
if
site
it takes 3 meetings to do the job,
Right, and the other bid specifies,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And again, well, maybe that's something we need to do, to call them in and answer the board's questions. I don't have a problem with scheduling that, and
Now, what's our, tell us again what our deadline is on this to get it presented?
it's a fall town meeting.
October.
Yeah.
We have to have
Third
that in
Monday
by-
October.
Yeah, right, right. Well, I mean, that amount, I mean, prior to the finance committee and so forth, I mean, the article's already saved. I mean, the way the article's written now, it says the sum of, and there's no dollar amount there.
Right.
Which that could be, you know, introduced already at the fall town meeting.
No, for
Right
this.
at the meeting.
Yes, for that, that's what I'm getting at, right.
Right at the
So,
meeting.
you know, that's something, so we get some time, but I would suggest, you know, within the next couple of weeks in September, to call these people in, and then at least we'll have a general idea, and we can, take a vote
Okay.
on the amount that we wanna, sponsor.
I'll,
The other thing, if, say we sponsor the article just as a round figure, we put $100,000, and the work goes up to 120 or 130, we'd have to go back at the Springtown meeting
Right.
That's correct.
right.
I get, you can
So-
always go lower on
Right.
town
Right.
floor by submitting an amount.
Yeah, I
Can't go
mean,
higher.
to me, the dollar amount, does it really matter at this point? It's mostly, let's look at a bid, get the best person we
Yeah,
feel is
definitely.
qualified for the job and get the ball rolling, whereas
Right.
the money, whether we get it appropriated in the fall or the spring, we gotta pay the bill anyway, so does it really, to me, this warrant is more like, let's get the ball rolling so we can get something going.
Yeah, definitely. And then, well, hopefully in the spring, we'll have some figures, and if the town wants to move forward and sponsor the article for the construction costs, we can get moving right in the spring. That's,
The whole thing with this is, it's ground in Sutton. You don't know what you're gonna run into.
That's
yeah,
right.
definitely, yeah.
But there are, I think the idea, if we met with each one of these, the two low bidders, I mean, this gentleman, this outfit leads to a lot of questions of exclusions. What does he mean by, he doesn't, you know, it's not included in his bid to do these things. And it's, in other words, what he's saying is if you agree to what, to the site of the pumping station, if you agree to the location of the pipes or wherever it is, if you agree, you know, into the you know, with, included in the cost, you have a final agreement. Now, if you come back and you say, oh, wait a minute, there's something different here, well then, it's gonna cost you $135 an hour, so. We should be able to be all in agreement when you
Right.
look at each segment of the project.
So your biggest problem, to me, sounds like with the bid that doesn't have a dollar amount for extra work, is
Yeah,
probably
right.
concerning,
Yeah,
right?
concern, yeah. But
And it-
I
and-
don't wanna see it come up later.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, just take it another step forward here on this, is that, I mean, the problem of doing this on-site is to designate or wetland areas. I mean, that's what the purpose of all these are here right now. You don't go out there and say, we already know what the wetlands are. No, that's why you're here. We hired you for you to designate the wetlands area, so that we know, you know, how much and so forth we have to deal with the conservation. That's what I was trying to get at, you know what I mean?
I think it's gonna be about an $8 million deal. When it's all-
would our visitor like to make comment?
You're sitting there,
He just stepped up to the
chafing at the
plate.
bit, so you want to say something.
Not chafing at the bit, it's just difficult to hear from back there, that's all.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you just tell me what you're planning to do?
Well, I think the suggestion was well taken as far as meeting with the two bids.
No, I mean, the
The
project.
purpose is
To run the sewer line from Sutton Center
down to the Pleasant Valley.
to Pleasant Valley, to
To hook
connect the
up.
two, totally within the road,
Yeah,
with one pump station?
someplace, yeah.
On the Boston Road.
On Boylston Road or on Singletary.
No, we kind of
But
ruled,
we kill that one over
I
there?
believe we did,
Yeah, I don't think we agreed to that.
yes. Donald, can you help us with that?
Yes,
Right,
we can. I guess
right.
what we had with the WPI presentation and so forth,
Right.
we talked about it. And even the professor and the steward, not that has that much weight into it, but they feel that it'd be a lot efficient to have the pump station down at the lower part.
The
And
lower-
at that
that's
time
right.
there, the McGoverns offered one parcel of land that's adjacent to the old Krause's property. I believe that might be 258 Boston Road, or don't hold me to that.
254,
Yeah,
I
around
read
that area there.
Here,
you
It's
know.
right here.
Yeah, right at that corner, right there corner lot that they're willing to turn over to the town for a pump station.
Okay, so, and Carl brought out a point about, and I think several of you brought out about the wetlands. Anybody of you have ever seen the Conservation Commission hearings, everything takes 4 or 5 meetings, and the result of every meeting, there are changes to the plans. So there's I think, extensive things there, so Donald is entirely correct. You absolutely need a good, whatever the word is there, excess at the end there to do that. Because as I hear you talking, when you're done with these plans, the plans are delivered, you can go out to bid to build a sewer system.
Right.
That's your intent. So it has to be 100% done, and know that you grant somebody the right to build this, that they can start that day and not have any hassle from anybody, the state, the Conservation Commission, or anything else.
Good point.
One question that I had, though, and this really doesn't have anything to do with this particular project, is a municipal water line necessary or advantageous to have in conjunction with the sewer things? Because you do have to flush the lines out and stuff. Do you have to have a hydrant with sufficient water going alongside of your sewer lines? Or can you run your sewer lines anywhere without any kind of water lines? You know, everything that we have in Sutton, I believe, has a water line next to the sewer line.
It's more of a luxury than a necessity in regards to having a hydrant availability of water. But you know, under the circumstances of where we are in the center of Sutton, and for the number of households we're talking about, it's not going to be really a heavy volume coming down to Boston Road until we get into phase 2 with the school and so forth, which we're not really discussing right now. We're only focused on phase 1. Yeah, like I said, it's more of a luxury than a necessity in regards to water. I would love to have water hydrants. You're absolutely right. There's times that we did need it, but at from where we are right now and from where we're going, you know, the water ain't coming up here. Not until they address their issues about their loss. There's 7 million gallons or whatever they got, which I believe they're already doing progress on. So.
But there's yet another step involved here.
Gotta get
They have to vote to extend their water district up here,
Correct.
and they could refuse to do that, and you have no water. That's why I was wondering,
Yeah.
you know,
No, you're right, and I guess the other second step is still going to go to the legislature for approval also, in regards for the extension of the water.
no, I don't believe so. I think all they have to do is have a vote.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how they've,
They did vote it to go up into the Pleasant Valley. They had to extend their power.
and then they extended it again up on Burbank Road and other places in town, far
That's right.
beyond their lines.
Yeah.
I would get everybody in the neighborhood to flush their toilet and we're gonna clean them.
No, I'd love to see water up here.
What are we
We
gonna
really
have?
do need it, but.
Blow the siren Is that what it is?
Yeah.
With the in-depth meetings we've had about this project in Phase 1, I think Donald's correct, and we're not gonna look at water in any way into this plan at all,
Well,
going down the
everything-
road, at this time, until the school, Phase 2 gets involved.
Right.
And then that's the opportunity for everything to happen.
Yeah, but can Wilkinsonville even pump that much water in the position they're in?
Well, I don't think we'd want to delay the Phase 1 of the sewer extension by the time the water is evaluated and even gets off the ground started.
Well, if they bring water to the center of Sutton, you're gonna need either a tower, you're gonna need a booster
Well, they
station.
better-
Yeah, either you're
Yeah.
gonna, or both, you
Yeah.
need to get it up here, so.
But Wilkinsonville will, the district down in Wilkinsonville is under the control right now of the DEP,
Yeah.
the wastewater management, whatever it is. They can't account, they bill less than what they pump or distribute. Fast.
So, Mr. Chairman, would you like to schedule a date? Would you like me to move
Yes, I would
forward
like,
on
I
that
think that would be a
area?
good idea that we set up a
I
time,
just have one
Yep.
question first.
by all means.
As far as the water goes, your pump station maintenance, you clean the wells out. I mean, these are gonna have collection wells in them for the pumps.
Right.
You do clean the wells out, like say once a year or whatever, if you have to. You
Well,
have
yeah,
a
what we
pump-
do, we normally have the grease cleaned out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we do, we get a preventive maintenance program on all our pump stations in Manchog and in Wilts where we pump, you know, there's an area we have to pump out twice a year, and sometimes 3 times a year, you know, depending upon how much discharge of grease, but, yeah, that's all done with we use Helgeson and they get a vac truck and they get a power hose there.
But the point I'm trying to make is if you need water to clean those
Yeah,
wells
where you
out,
gonna get it from?
you got a jetter that you can put a hose on, can you pump out of that?
Yeah, you're great, you're absolutely, good point.
So
Yeah,
how many
you're right.
gallons does that have?
Yeah, that holds about, oh geez, I don't know how many, about.
Not to put you on a spot, it's what, 500 gallons or something, say?
Yeah, probably just a little less than that, and we fill that up to a
Yeah,
hundred.
so if you had to clean
Yeah.
a pump station, you could bring
Use
the
that
jetter
thing.
over there,
Right.
get it running, and you
Oh,
could blast
right.
whatever you had to out
Yeah,
of the.
yeah, good point, very
Yeah,
good point.
so it's, you know, like Donald says, the water's a luxury, but
Yeah,
if you had to, you could,
right.
so.
So I would see if we can come up with a date here, as time of day, 2 o'clock, okay, with most people, especially to bring the business people in.
Right.
And we could set one at 2 o'clock and one at 2:45 maybe, or allow each one 20 minutes, something?
Yeah, well, I would give yourself a little lapse time for a little discussion, you know,
In
among
between?
ourselves. Right,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and,
45 minutes and 15 minutes.
okay.
Just one question, should we check with them first before we set a date, or you think?
Well, I think if they want us to review their bid, they would think they would come to the meeting.
Sure,
Um,
I agree, yeah.
We set the
You're something
date.
too nice.
We can let Amanda have a little bit of discretion if for some reason the both of them could not make the same date, then we can kind of look at a different day.
we can go to Gender and Post.
You could meet there on the
Yeah.
sly.
So you wanna
Um,
do one at 2 and then one at 3, you said?
No, I think.
Well, yeah, I think
45.
Steve mentioned bringing it earlier for a meeting, correct, so we can talk,
Yeah, well,
Okay.
in between, I would like to have a
the time
discussion.
frame.
Right.
So would 1 o'clock work for the first one with everybody on
What day? In October?
No,
a,
that's
no,
what
right
she
in
meant.
September,
Has to
right
be
here.
September.
Yeah.
Within the next 10 days or less.
What is that? When's the next 10 days?
Well, we've got the 12th, which is next Wednesday, which would have been our normal meeting,
No, you gotta-
Why don't we do
but
that?
that's not working because we have
That's
some
not-
to do.
no, I'm out of-
How about the
gone.
13th, a week from today?
The 13th is a Saturday.
Thursday.
Thursday?
No. Thursday, a week from today would be Thursday the 13th.
No, we'll be
I'm
a
gone.
Friday,
I'm
Okay.
leaving tomorrow,
Okay.
Friday. I'll be gone for a week.
When will you be back,
I'll
Carl?
be back after the 15th.
Okay, so Tuesday the 18th? I'm just giving dates
Yeah,
here,
that's
so
fine.
see how we all look at.
I'll stay, go with you.
Yeah, I just gotta check the tides, and
See which fish is biting, huh? Okay, I
Well,
like
gotta-
that.
well,
I'm gonna have to come up with
I'm gonna
something like
have-
that.
Well, let's see, wait a minute, can we make it about
No, that's
11
fine.
o'clock? Because I have
That's
a
fine.
4 o'clock tea time for the finale.
Um,
So we'd be here at 1, the first meeting would go from like 1 to 1:30, we discuss from, say, 1:30 to 1:45.
Then the
Next
next,
guy, even if he came in at 2 o'clock,
right.
why don't we do that? Let's schedule one for 1, one for 2, then
Yeah,
basically,
don't be bothering
basically
each
tell him he's got 30 minutes to state his case, and then
Right.
if he does go over, at
We'll be
least.
finished by 3, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but then at
No.
least then we can,
Hey, what do you mean, no?
we'll have a few minutes.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah, that's good. So we'll schedule one at 1 and one at 2.
Yes.
Can we make it a second rain date, just in case?
A rain date would be like Thursday.
Just in case they can't do Tuesday or something?
Yeah, if that would be the 20th.
I could do it,
What's
After
the latest,
Tuesday-
Donald, that we have to?
I'm free.
The 20th is a good time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get, I don't know when we're gonna be scheduled to meeting with the finance committee to review the, fall town, articles.
Oh, that's
And I kinda like to have the amount there when we
Right,
sit
the
down with
amount.
them. So I'll get back to you on that, you know.
So,
I'd like to have that.
to just clarify, well, Tuesday, the 18th, September 18th, 1 o'clock for, you know, whichever one you can book in first.
whatever.
And then the second one would come in at 2. And it will allow them 20 to 30 minutes to present their case. And that will give us an opportunity to be confident about what we're looking at
Very good.
in details.
Yeah. And I'm
All
sure
right.
you can get some of Kyle's questions answered. I mean, he's got some good
Yes,
questions.
and I think
too, guys.
everything we've all discussed here, including our visitors' inquiry about this, is kind of important because it's, things can be missed so easily, and then the price tag just climbs up there.
That's correct, right?
And if we can move along with details, I do like to see the depth that's on this one report. I think it's excellent. But I agree with Donald, and the other one is giving a very generic
Yep.
report to us and bid, and the price is lower. But is he saying the same thing as the other one is saying? Because you don't see it in writing. It's,
Can I suggest that you specifically ask them, you know, there's a great difference in here in the prices, you know, what aren't you covering here?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, specifically ask them the things that you've
I like
just
it.
mentioned here,
Yeah.
because if you just let him talk, he'll
Right.
say how great we are and we'll do everything, but you gotta press the issue on that.
Well, yeah,
very, very
because
good point.
The guy here, he tells you what's not included
Mhm.
Yeah.
on the last page.
Yeah.
So,
No, I could see that, and that's why I mentioned that, the depth of this one. And I would, and I think perhaps, and Donald, you can, you know, if you have anybody that you've had any experience that's used on-site, you say you haven't had anybody, maybe you can get a, you know, kind of a survey from them, how do they
Yeah.
do with them?
Yeah. I
Did,
know the town of Auburn uses them on
Mhm.
site.
If you can
And,
get like a recommendation, that helps us have a feel too, if
Yeah.
it's, if they've got the necessity that we need.
yeah,
I'm
I
all
like-
for the lower
I
bid,
will.
but I'd just like to get the depth on it, and.
Yeah. And I will, I'll.
All right,
get
so
some-
we finalizing that date, and the alternate date would be on the Thursday,
Yep,
okay?
I will
Uh,
call, we can probably call tomorrow.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna ask the commissioners to look at each bid and write right on that piece of paper your questions down that you'd like to ask, and including, obviously Donald, we wants the most important questions out there.
And we welcome any outsiders to.
Yes,
the
and
meeting.
welcome.
Please come in.
Yeah, very helpful.
If I could say something, the difference between the two bids of the two people we're having coming in is about $27,000. I mean, $22,000. So it's not like it's a big gap. The other one is $200,000 more than these. So these two are pretty close as far as the bid price.
So I'd be curious why one is so much more
Well,
than the other two.
When I was looking at it, they're actually proposing two pump station sites, whereas the other ones are only talking about one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right.
He's got a pump station over by the BP station, and he's got another one down on Boston Road, where when we sent the thing out from WPI, I thought that specifically stated
Yeah.
we were looking at more just one pump station. But I mean, would
I
a
mean,
pump
we-
station increase it by $200,000 for an engineering study? I don't know.
Well, it's a whole different street, different location, and there's a lot more square footage to be covered. The alternative here, and again, by recommendation, we can ask them to review their bid, the other ones, the high, and say, we want it based on the plans that we sent out, request.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
if they
you
want to
could
submit
do
a
that.
new one to us, they could,
Yeah.
providing it's done by the 18th.
But then you'd have to have them come in too for a meeting if you wanted to. It's,
So if they don't have enough details here, that's the only thing, I guess, but,
Well,
uh,
his Google map shows
Yeah.
the two different locations
right.
for the pump station.
I think we're making the right decision, Mr. Chairman, in regards to, calling them the two little bidders,
Mhm.
and I will contact the other bidders and,
Tell them they're welcome to make an adjustment if they
Right.
like, but it has to be down to what we
right.
said on Boston Road, on Boston Road, and that would be,
you know what though? This says it all right there, so that's the high bid.
hmm. All right, so that settles that.
I don't know if that's gonna require a vote to,
Well, all right, well, why don't we do it, just to make it all, we'll vote, I'll make a motion and we request the two bids from, one from On-Site Engineering, and the other company would be Gratz Engineering, to come to a meeting and present their bids to us with, and answer questions. And as was suggested here, with the emphasis of saying what is not covered in the bid. And that will be on September 18th at 1 o'clock for the first one, and 2 o'clock for the second one. Alternate date shall be, I forgot that date, Look at the calendar.
Thursday.
The 20th,
Thursday the 20th.
it'll be the 20th. Do I have a second?
Just before we do that, should we leave something in there, whereas if the third bidder decides they wanna do it, that we can make room for them too? 'Cause the way
If,
we're doing-
if
the
the
way
other
we're doing
bids
this-
would like to adjust theirs and come in,
Yeah,
if you, let's let Donald, I guess, I mean, you can turn this into a long affair, we have limited time. So what I would suggest is that if they wanna present a new bid and gets to us and it come to us, we could go ahead and schedule another one with it.
I agree with that, as long as they submit a cost prior to them coming back on their
Right,
adjustment.
right.
Cause if they just come in here, they can start talking about how
No, I don't
big, how
want-
hard it is.
No.
I don't wanna
You
bring
know
him
what
in
I mean?
here unless it's a full written bid change
Right.
to what, adjustment, otherwise it can't be.
I think we can make them to adjust their bid, and then we
Yeah.
can basically decide from that point there.
Right.
I
Whether or not
just-
it'd be feasible to have them come in or not.
I just don't wanna have a motion going through saying that we only want these two people here. when-
Okay, well, let me amend that a little bit without repeating the whole thing, that the alternate bids that we're reviewing, we shall respectfully request them to adjust it to the terms that we agreed to, with a full written bid given to us prior to this date, and if they wish to, if that comes in and they wish to be a part of the meeting, they can be booked in, that timeframe.
Yeah. Or we can determine that based upon their new bid.
Right, and we can contact them and confirm they come or they don't come.
Right.
Would you like to, I see the eyes there.
I don't think that you can do that, because the bidding process is, you have one chance to submit, and then now the other two people are exposed,
I see.
and,
Good
you know,
point.
It's a
because I've
very-
had that situation with when I was buying fire trucks. And, I wanted to change my bid, and but, you got one chance.
Okay, so we
So you
presented
just
this
made it a lot
correctly.
easier for us.
Yes, you
Yeah.
really did.
You don't have to worry about it.
You're welcome to come to our meeting every week.
You know, that's a good point,
is-
so it's just,
If we're ruling out two
These
bids
are-
because of the price,
Right.
and if they've misread what we were requesting, then that's not our accountability. I would say.
good point.
And Donald has some experience dealing with one of these. And I do strongly emphasize, Donald, if you can talk to somebody that's done business with
I will.
on site, so you have a feel of that, that would be a good plus to us.
Well, it wasn't advertised. Right? You just sent letters of feelers out, right?
Right.
So you never advertised, I think.
Well, they did send us a bid, so they got contact, they knew what was going on, you know,
Right.
so that's why I'm not that concerned about that.
Well, you didn't advertise in
Yeah.
the paper or anything, you just.
Well, we didn't have
sent
to
'em-
because,
Right.
right, yeah. But I
Professional
contacted
services.
six different ones, and what you see is what we got. 4
So?
responded.
All right, if
You picked the 2 bottom ones and the rest, goodbye.
Amanda, I
change the
presented
plan.
enough information so that you could kind of repeat what I proposed there, or
No
not?
idea.
Okay. And that's perfectly fine,
No,
because
I'll make a motion to
it-
request the bidders to come to a meeting to present,
To explain.
what do you want, yeah, like, what exactly do you wanna?
To explain what the bid.
to explain their bid, the breakdown, with the emphasis on what is not covered in their bid.
Also, you could run into a problem with the guy that thinks there's 2 pump stations and there isn't. Would you make the bid any less?
Well, we can make this as complicated as we want, but the bottom line is, I feel if we've presented a plan that says for one, and someone goes and does 2, then,
They didn't read it right,
you know,
yeah.
so, again, basically fundamentally, the motion is this, we'll hold a special meeting on September 18th at 1 o'clock with contractors bidding on the site plan engineering for the pump station. And it will be for the 2 companies that we mentioned, Gratz Engineering and On-Site Engineering, one being at 1 o'clock, the other being at 2. And can I hear a second for that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That meeting will be set, and we welcome to hear from them. And again, I encourage the members to get their questions written down, to allow that to expedite through with the questions. All right, so we have resolved the Beta Engineering invoice as being an article that is done. The the article for the bid for the pump station is just, the amount is blank. So if we get to that point, we can put that in at the last minute. If not, if we find ourselves in a situation like that, we can still put an arbitrary number in there, correct?
That's correct.
Of
yeah.
amount,
Yeah.
and the bid goes through, and then if we don't spend that money, it's great. All right, and that's if we all members go. So at our next meeting, we'll have to see if we can establish that vote in order this to go to the town meeting, correct?
I mean, Mr. Chairman, just for the people out there, you wanna elaborate that all articles that we are sponsoring will be funded to our sewer enterprise account, not to the taxpayers.
Not to the taxpayers, correct, right.
Just wanna emphasize
We
that.
have to sponsor articles for any money that's being spent out of the enterprise fund, which consists of funds reserved from connection fees, et cetera, over the years. And this is separate from capital expenditures. And this is for our improvement, right?
Right.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda. We've all received a copy of the, mentioning the Town of Sutton Sewer Enterprise Fund for the fiscal year of 2018. And I just have one question, that Donald, you might be able to answer. Under other, we have an amount of 83,000. Do you know what that breakdown is, or what that's for?
Is it on we're talking
Expenses?
about the enterprise, the retained earnings expenses?
Yeah, right, exactly. The report.
Isn't that the,
It's the expenses, you'll see it, last from the bottom.
Inspection fees?
No,
That's
because
an
what's up here?
Inspection fees are there. Well, the only thing I could think of other, why they added this is money turned over from articles we didn't spend. You know what I mean? I know we had like $8,000 left over from the, well, not 8,000, 4 or 5,000 left over from a new truck that we purchased. And I wonder if that, what he means by other, went back into the,
Well, it's considered an expense, so I'm not sure that would be,
right, right. I mean, I can get a breakdown
I can
from.
find out for you.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we can get a breakdown of
I
that.
see that our articles, our warrants amounts was $827,271 for fiscal year 2018, and the amount brought in under user fees was $808. Our warrants are really only the user fees, correct?
Right.
All right. So I'm assuming that is probably what is outstanding as of the physical end of the year,
Right.
the difference of 27,000?
Yeah. And the reason why that users fees is up more than what our balance was is because people have sprinkler systems.
Right.
We really don't know, we're not gonna have a target number of this is
Mhm.
what your operating cost is and this is what we're taking in, so that's why it's higher than what my budget, which ain't that much higher than what my budget is.
Right, because it's really what that goes online in the middle of the year and so forth.
That's correct.
Okay. So, any further discussion on this? This is a report that we've requested to get every year, and will be part of our booklet to be section. Right, Amanda?
Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay. Next on our agenda is, we were looking for a report from Carl in regards to, we've had discussions about municipal buildings being assessed sewer fees, and conducted a survey with other community of what they do, do not do, to see where Sutton relates to this situation on municipal buildings being part of the sewer, where we're steadily growing and more municipal buildings will be coming online. It's something we take an early approach to evaluate. We recognize there's some that will probably stay exempt because of what type of facility it is. So if we could hear from Carl on what you found out.
Real quick. I'll give it to you on a spreadsheet at the next meeting in September. I contacted Auburn, Millbury, Holden, Grafton, Douglas, and I don't think I went to Webster. No, I don't think. Do they have sewers anyhow? I don't know.
Part of, they're part of section, a section of it is.
Okay.
I don't know
But
about the
anyhow-
rest.
Anyway, all those towns that have water districts, they do charge the municipal accounts or municipally owned buildings the rate of the sewage collection.
So they're being assessed
They're
as
being assessed
sewer,
for it.
sewage use, okay?
And they seem to be the controlling factor of whether you get a bill or you don't get a bill. And Sutton, no, the fire stations are not, well, this one here, they don't have any sewers, they just gotta get a bigger tank. The ones in Wilkinsonville and the one in Manchog, they have an arrangement, and they don't get billed.
And this arrangement is with water district, you're
With the
saying?
water districts,
Okay.
yeah. And I guess Selectmen or somebody that gave the okay to do it, so I don't have no idea.
Yeah, purpose of this,
But the buildings, such as the Pucky Hunk building, that pays the water district. That pays us. They get the bill, right? Pucky Hunk will, and then the senior center, the housing authority in Wilkinsonville, they pay. senior center, no.
Yeah, well,
So we have to, we'll either
Right,
have to sit down with Mr. Smith
yeah,
and.
again, the survey
wanna
is
do.
to get the information and see where we stand, and just to where we reach a time where we may evaluate, is there a need to do this?
Right.
We're
That's
not,
what I
we didn't wanna wait until the last minute, because we're trying to stay up with what's going on in other communities as well, and to keep, the sewer department in its, the rate structure that it's in at this point. And, we're doing very well with it this year, and, you know, hopefully that will continue on. So I'd like to, continue the, keep this on the agenda, to get, if you can give us a spreadsheet, that would be great, Carl. Very helpful for us, and, it's something we can discuss a few months down the line as we get busy, but it's, and see what the theory is, what does other people think about this? I mean, it's not just us as commissioners. As, I know that, I've already mentioned, I know when if the school system comes on phase two, I mean, it's just no way the sewer department can handle that volume without them being assessed a fee. They have to, you know, it seems like there has to be some cost. So,
Can I
yes,
make a statement? Right now, the Sutton Town Hall is on a septic system, correct? When the septic system gets pumped, who gets assessed the fee? The sewer users or the whole town?
Right now, when it
I'm
gets.
just making,
How-
I'm
how
just
do they
making a
pay for it?
statement.
Yeah.
They pay for it on the,
Who,
on the
who
town
pays
hall.
to have the septic tank pumped at the Sutton Town Hall?
Town hall.
the expenses of the town
rest
hall
my
overhead,
case.
right. No, I,
We're still paying for
the
it.
point-
Yeah, right.
the point is well taken. They're paying out money to, process the septic system and so forth. So, once they're hooked into our system, it's, you know, either the same rate structure or whatever it is, or not to go
Yeah.
over what they were doing before.
That fee should be assessed to all the taxpayers in town, not just the sewer users on the system. That's why I feel they should pay. That's my opinion. So,
Well, we paid for the construction.
it's just the way
Right,
it is.
Okay.
And the charter says.
Not to leave anybody hanging on this, because I like to, I love what you just said in regards to
yeah.
clarification here, and that's,
No, I
um,
don't agree with you on that at all.
the
I don't agree
clarification.
with that. Just because I don't, just because you have sewers, I pay for the sewers that you're using, all right? That's the state law. When you get financing, is that the users and the toll town pays for the construction.
Right.
And then there's an operation and maintenance factor. And the users and the fees that you collect from the users pays for the operation and maintenance,
Right.
period.
Right.
I don't pay for that, because
Right.
I don't use it. And neither does 40% of the town. Well, I'm sorry, but that's the case.
Right, so, we do have a difference of evaluation there, and I agree with
Well,
both
you'll
levels.
be hard pressed to get any new
No,
sewers put in,
well,
I'll tell you that.
Can you let, I agree with exactly both sides, really, because I understand that. I'm just trying to say that it's well taken, that, you know, there's an expense involved now, there's an expense to somebody once they hook into town sewage. And, I'm going to, not to drop the subject, because we are talking about this as we ongoing. We're further up with a report from Kyle, and it'll be a discussion down the line as we move forward. And obviously, doesn't really play a role until Sutton Town Hall is hooked up to the sewer system, which is, Donald, when do you expect that job to be done?
1 year from today.
1 year from today? Okay. So anyways, we got a projection date. But, so we've got plenty of time without being, and to get more information and more ideas, and we welcome the public to come here, the users, or express their opinion. That's what an open forum's for, and that's what we're here for too, to hear from you, if any users, wish to express, that, on that matter. All right. Moving on. Any further discussion on that? We all set for now? Okay. Any correspondence? Amanda, some lovely letters, no? Oh, I'm always looking forward to some correspondence, we don't get any. All right,
You may have to.
maybe we'll ask Donald to send us a July, Labor Day, or, no, Labor Day's gone by, right? Have to be a Thanksgiving card. Mail us a Thanksgiving cards, we'll have some
Send you a
correspondence.
Halloween card.
Okay, we'll put a little humor with it. Okay. Moving on to old business, Donald, can you tell us how we're doing with, I see a lot of building going up, Galaxy Plaza, the plaza over there, that construction started. Whitens Road, there's, what is that, office building there?
Yeah, we got Whitens Road, we got that dwelling across from the Whitens Road project, they're gonna be tying in.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Hunter's Court, I think it's probably about 80% done.
It's done.
It's done, it's all in, there you go. Got it
Now,
from the plumbing
where's-
inspector, it's 100%
Can you
done.
just, I'm not familiar with that particular one, Hunter's
Yeah,
Court?
that's off of Leland Hill,
Oh, okay.
of Leland Hill's project.
Yeah.
So that's about, and then,
Well, they're working on the road yet, but the rest of the houses, I think every house has been.
yeah, well, I mean, they get some things they have to get issued before the town accepted. That ain't gonna happen till the annual town meeting if they do submit an article at that point there. And, you know, we've got a few things that, you know, that needs to get addressed on the sewer aspect end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one's going on is, Phase 3 in Onsby Road also. They're really
Onsby Road.
banging them up, I'll tell you. Boy, I can't
Yeah,
believe
it's-
how fast that they're settling also there, so. I mean, like I said, the economy's great.
For the ones
That's
that,
on the sewer aspect.
the ones that came to a complete stop have all been pushed
Yeah.
right back on.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, aerial surface going down here too again.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see there was, Prime Metal, that's still just kinda like sitting, waiting for plans to be done, right?
Yeah, but they're going with the planning and conservation as we speak. There's some
Mhm.
adjustments being made, there's some dialogue going back and forth, but
Yeah.
they're not going anywhere, you know, so.
Okay. Very good. That's all positive. It's great to hear for the future.
In case you guys wanna know, that new restaurant on 146, very good. Good place to take your wife. Or
Oh.
children.
Very good.
Hey, something we always need is a good restaurant.
Anything else under old business? I turned 70. That's old business.
Turned 82.
Okay. So anyways, moving on to new business. Each commissioner was asked to take a quick look at the Town of Sutton Sewer Commissioners' rules and to see if they're satisfied with them and any recommendations for any changes or editing that they wanted to do. Once a year, we just take a look at what we've established for our guidelines and put them in place. We can always make a change anytime in the course of the year if it's applicable or needed. But I would like to take it off my list, which has been on there for like 3 months now. So if anyone has no objections with any what's been on those rules, we'll just file them in the booklet as is for another year. No objections?
No.
I don't believe we have to vote 'cause there's no changes to it. All right. Thank you, Amanda, for giving us a copy of all of this. And on the calendar event, I think at one time we had it on there to review these on one of the months, and I don't see it on the calendar event anymore.
Just asked to go, he just asked if they're online, and I'm like 99% sure those are online too. I think I just
Okay,
put those up
they're
there.
online?
Yep.
That's good for the users to understand. Anybody wants to review our rules, they're on the website, which is great. Amanda's done a great job bringing that up to date over the last few months, and continues to do so. Thank you. Any other new business? Next meeting schedule. We'll have a little interruption on this for the September special meeting, but our monthly meeting will be scheduled for October 10th
So,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, I just, now that you mentioned that there, we might wanna schedule this meeting in September as a workshop.
Okay?
You know what I mean? I think we have to post something if we're gonna have.
I was
these
gonna
people
bring
come in.
that up before we
Yeah.
adjourn, just to, yeah.
Right, I think we might wanna post that as a workshop with the potential, bidders.
Okay,
And
for the
then-
bidders.
And
Right.
then, schedule a regular meeting whenever you want, you know what I mean? We're in
Well,
September.
Okay.
We're already in September, so the annual town meeting is the second Monday of October, so you might wanna schedule that earlier.
Okay, so let's take a look at this, and, so our September 18th will be considered a workshop, okay?
Does that
Um,
have to be posted?
Yes, yeah.
Anytime the three of us
And that
get
will be
together.
fine. So if we all, the 10th happens to be the second Wednesday of October, and the town meeting is the 15th of October. Does that sound right? Monday?
Yeah.
Okay? That's the third Monday.
Okay.
October.
I think it's the second Monday.
So that's the 8th
Do you know when
then.
that is? The fall town meeting, do you know what day that's on? The 8th, yeah, it is the
8th.
8th, so we wanna meet before that.
That's a holiday, so surprised it's being held there, okay.
But then it won't be on the eighth if it's
It's Columbus Day.
It's in your rules. What's it saying?
The first is the first Monday, so
All right, hang on.
All right, well,
it'll be the 15th. Yeah, it is the 15th, so the 10th will be
Okay.
fine.
so let's, is everybody in agreement for us to meet again on the 4th of October, which is a Thursday at 2 o'clock? Which is a week earlier than normal, but it gives us time to do what we have to do for the town meeting. Everybody's so agreeable today, I like it.
You're the boss.
Okay, so our next monthly scheduled meeting will be October 4th at 2 PM. Any objections? Fine. We don't need to vote on that either, right? I didn't think so. All right. That concludes everything that I have out there. Does anybody, any further discussion on any of the new business or old business? No? Make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Any seconds?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 3:07. Thank you.